Ayo, welcome into the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome into a remote version of the CHGO White Sox podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. And alongside me, as always, is Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He is the CHGO White Sox beat writer, and that's Vinny I-E, not Y. And down below is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. That's Lawrence backwards, and 23 for Robin Ventura. We were deep in the heart of Texas. The White Sox lose this one. They fall to 53 and 52, losing this one 3-2 against the Texas Rangers. And I bring up Robin Ventura because I want to talk about one thing off the bat. We got Vinny wanting to fight something, but also, can we stop playing the Robin Ventura getting his ass beat by Nolan Ryan video? Do you guys still enjoy that? Today was the I guess 29th year anniversary of that happening. I'm sick of seeing it.
I'd agree. Yeah, I that can go away all the time. I've never liked it as a big-time Robin Ventura fan, but yeah, I mean, they find joy there. I saw one of my friends retweeted. They have a mural of that moment on one of their buildings out there. It's like, I get it.
Well, that's kind of funny.
But let's move on, man. I know Nolan's a legend out there in Texas, but it hurts some of us.
That's kind of funny. Turning it into public art, I kind of is a fresh spin on it. I feel like. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, that's a thing that, like, it literally just every time they play the Rangers, it's like, this is the most notable thing that had ever occurred between the two teams. I'm sure you could find some old highlight of, like, right, Alex Rios doing something good against this old team or something
Hawk
like that.
Harrelson going down to find Todd Frazier's health is the best thing that's ever happened in that ballpark, ever.
You brought him up in the pregame in 2003 at the Cell. At the 2003 All-Star
Hank
game.
Blaylock, yes.
Hank Blaylock was the MVP. So let's give the respect to Hank Blaylock. Michael Young had to have killed the White Sox once. We need to get some new footage. Let's make it happen. Maybe Adolis Garcia dropping that fly ball in right field will be forever played on White Sox broadcasts from here on out. Not really an exciting game, an interesting game in some sorts, just because Raggins was making his debut for the Rangers. Johnny Cueto goes 8 innings, and the White Sox don't have to use a single bullpen arm. And the offense walked, didn't do much else. What sticks out the most to you guys from this loss?
I mean, come on, it's the lack of the bats, right? I mean, how many times have we sang this song over and over again this season? You talk about being sick of something, Sean. I bet everybody's sick of hearing about how the White Sox didn't score many runs. To only get 2 against, I mean, you don't care who the pitchers are at this point. You know what I mean? These guys are major leaguers. They're going to have good days, and the White Sox offense is going to have bad days, but they've had way too many bad days. And for a team that was supposed to bash the ball, we finally saw the lineup all together tonight. Didn't do anything. I mean, the biggest hit of the evening was your guy Adolis kicking the ball out there in right center field. So this team needs to, you know what I mean? Like whether you're hitting a home run or whether you're hitting a double down the line or whether you're just hitting 4 singles in a row, you can't settle for 2 runs against a sub 500 team. And the White Sox have done this way too many times this year. Way too many times when Johnny Cueto was pitched, by the way. Here we are again, talking about it again. So, of course, that's the thing that sticks out because it's a problem that will not go away.
And the biggest problem, I think, is between, even though he came through late in the game, Yoan Moncada struggling with runners in scoring position, and then Yasmani Grandal just being lost totally. The Yoan Moncada first inning at bat, it's just like, I mean, when you have not the first inning bat, the one that he you see Andrew Vaughn walk on 5 straight pitches. You got the kid on the thing, and I think it was first inning. You got the kid who's making his first inning of his major league debut. He's struggling. Just walked a guy on 5 pitches. Pitching coach goes out and talks to him. Man swings at the first pitch. That's not even a real strike. Like, what are we doing there? Like, what's the thought process behind that? You see the kid struggling, and then you bail him out right there. I don't think you have to come through. And Sean, I think you retweeted some things from Sleepy Harold that Yoan Moncada, more likely than not in runners in scoring position, comes through. But today he had a couple really poor at bats when runners were in scoring position. The White Sox had a chance to really get over these Texas Rangers. And so his at bats, and then Yasmani Grandal is just, somebody pointed out, it's like, this might be that Adam Dunn season where he started off with 2 home runs early and then just fell off the table and only hit 11 for the year and was terrible all year long. And then pretty much his whole White Sox career, sans 140 home run year. So I hope he's wrong because he looks lost up there.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Alex Rude during the game, and he said, the moment they picked off Taveras to second base, like maybe that would have been able to help Yasmani out of his slump at the plate, because I think at that point he was 0 for 20, ends up, I think, going 0 for 22. He does draw a walk tonight, which was good, and the White Sox ended up drawing, I believe, 5 walks, so that was at least a bright spot there. But yeah, Grandal just doesn't look great at the plate. There was a cutter he got from Raggins there, and it was 87 miles per hour right down the middle. I think we have that pitch.
Oh my
Steven.
Goodness.
I think it was the first Grandal at bat. I'm not sure if I thought we had it as a graphic. Yeah, here we go. So he gets a curveball on the first pitch in the dirt, starts off 1-0, then forcing fastball that was a little outside. And this especially later on in the game, that probably would have been a called strike. But he gets a nice call, gets down 2-0. Then third pitch is in there. Fourth pitch, he fouls off. And I guess he's looking fastball, and the cutter is just 7 mile per hour difference right there. And he's swinging through it. It was a pitch truly right down the middle and tailor-made for a power swing to a righty right over the middle of the plate. And especially in the first inning there, or a second inning, you need him to come through, especially with the way the first inning ended, not being able to capitalize on bases loaded.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, I think Patrick Nolan from Sox Machine tweeted out that he's got 2 extra base hits in his last 191 plate appearances. That's just bottom of the league production there. I don't know if he's still hurt. I mean, I've never heard that. He came back from the IL, but I suppose his legs are under him. But I don't know what's going on with his eye. His bat to ball skills are not the same as they were last year. I don't know if you can just lose it that quickly, but I hope he regains it somehow.
Yeah, Vin, you're right. You say bottom of the league production. I mean, you can go to the stat page and sort it, and he'll be right down there on the bottom or very close to it. It's a shame because we're in the 5th month of the season here, and we're still talking about this. I mean, slumps happen, bad half seasons happen. You know what I mean? But this thing is dragged on really for the entire season, and certainly before he got hurt in the way that had to put him on the IL, he was still not 100%. I mean, he was very much still battling the effects of that knee surgery, and it was not coming along quickly for him from a physical standpoint. But when he came back, he actually told us that the back injury made the knee injuries go away. In a way. I mean, I'm sure, it didn't do any sort of actual surgery or anything like that. But from a feeling standpoint, he felt better in the knees once he was working on rehabbing the back. So he actually said when he came back, it was the best he'd felt all year. This is physically probably the best he's been all year. It is obviously not the best offensively he's been all year, or maybe it is because the bar is pretty low to clear in terms of what he's done from a production standpoint. I mean, seriously, it's not. It wasn't meant to be a joke, but it was, I guess, good wordplay there at the very least, because he's one guy who has really not had that moment this year where he has kind of turned it on a little bit. Even Yoan Moncada has been vastly improved, over the last few weeks or the last month or so. Whereas, a guy who really we know has the capability to be much, 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 much better than this is down at, Larry Garcia levels.
Yeah, and it's weird too because Grandal, I mean, once he came off the IL, was pretty, productive. I mean, in the first 5 games, 8
looked okay
hits,
right away. Yeah,
8 hits, 4 RBIs, and then just has fallen off the plate ever since. Hasn't had a hit since the 27th, and has, I think, now 3, 4. I'm the math guy, so I'm doing math now live on air. I think it's 5 strikeouts in the last 5 games. So he's just been overmatched, but maybe it's just a small stretch. It is baseball. He got a couple bad calls as well. I think late in the game, he got one similar that Luis Robert was called in on, one that was inside. That was a difficult part, and we'll get to the Robert stuff just a little bit later. But I want to go to Connor's comment here saying, I want a handwritten apology from every player delivered to Johnny Cueto tonight. We don't deserve his greatness. We talked about it on the pregame. Johnny Cueto, once again, putting them in a position to win. 8 innings, 3 earned runs. There was a little bit of a shaky part in the 6th inning where I thought he might have been pulled, but he goes 8 innings, 3 earned runs, 11 hits, no walks, 4 Ks. What'd you guys make of Cueto tonight?
He was Cueto, right? I mean, 11 hits is a lot, but 3 runs certainly isn't, and certainly no walks is pretty damn good too. That's what back-to-back starts now for White Sox starters with no walks after Lance had none yesterday. He looked the way he's looked all year, which is he gives the team a chance to win every time he goes out there. He's going to go 6 innings, and heck, now he's got multiple appearances where he's going 8. It's a guy that again, no pun intended here, but he's been a horse for them. And, he's a guy who really has not gotten much in the way of run support, at least anecdotally. I haven't looked up the numbers, but, it's this, like I said, same old song and dance, really, because Johnny Cueto was great tonight. He was playing a team that he could easily hold to 3 runs or less, and that's what he did. And the White Sox offense didn't back him up.
The Rangers were getting some good shots off him. There was balls hit really hard. Couple off the bat of Nathan Lowe, who we made fun of in the pregame because we didn't know who the hell he was. The man was rocket shots over there, and he made a good catch at first base. But Johnny knew how to get those guys out after getting to early trouble in those innings, and that was good to see. And then the exemplary play that he made, heads-up play, where Yohan is abandoning third because he's got to make the play, and the heads-up runner at second tries to go to third. But you know what? Johnny Cueto's smart. Runs over, sprints, catches the ball, tags the guy out, risking himself getting spiked there, gets the job done. I don't know if I've ever been a person that's been like a legend with 4 different teams. Because if you ask Giants fans, they love him. They love him in Kansas City. He's brought home a championship. Same thing in Cincinnati. This man is just a legend, and he will be one here in Chicago for what he's done this year. It's just been nothing short of spectacular. He went the whole damn game. I know sometimes we're like, where's the bullpen? What's going on? And yes, Johnny was struggling, I think, in the 7th inning or 6th inning. He got the job done through 8 innings, saved the bullpen, and pitched a fantastic game. I don't care if it was versus the Rangers. That is a phenomenal game.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a phenomenal game. I mean, he didn't, have blow-away stuff, only 4 strikeouts. But again, he did what Johnny Cueto does, using that ability to throw hitters' timings off, that ability to control any pitch that he wants. And let's look at the pitch mix today, because he started off a lot of changeups early on and then started throwing that fastball more and more. And
Filthy.
We saw he wasn't able to get Nathaniel Lowe, exactly who Vinnie brought up in the pregame, the guy who signed
Revolutionary War hero.
Yes, he signed the declaration. He started throwing those forcing fastballs high up in the zone against Nathaniel Lowe, and Nathaniel Lowe had nothing to do with him. You see again another great Johnny Cueto start where he's throwing 4 pitches 20 plus times each, 25 times for his sinker, 24 times for his 4-seam, 23 times for his changeup, 21 times for his slider, and he also worked in that cutter 13 times. Beautiful. He got 12 whiffs on 59 swings, 6 of them coming from that 4-seam fastball, most of them coming from Nathaniel Lowe. And he's got a called strike whiff percentage of 27%. That's major league average. And that's the big thing right there. You see the 28 balls in play for Johnny Cueto, an average exit velocity of 81. And that's where the White Sox were beat today. Johnny Cueto obviously allowing hits, 28 balls in play. You have this defense. You have Andrew Vaughn out in right field. Balls are going to get down. It's going to be tough to make those really, really crucial outs. Maybe if you're hustling, you'll be able to make plays like you mentioned at third base to get Tavares out. But the White Sox didn't have a ball hit over 100 miles per hour. And our guy, Paul Correct, always bringing up exit velocity. Ozzie Guillen giving Jason Benetti shit about exit velocity on the broadcast. Here's a night proving to you that if you hit the ball hard, usually good things happen. And that happened for the Rangers today. One of the things for Nathaniel Lowe, 112 mile per hour double, put him at second base. He scored the first run, and the Rangers really didn't look back since then.
Yeah, and I'm just so impressed. You showed the pitch mix and the variance of the pitchers. Like, he's using the whole arsenal evenly and getting people out on these pitches. Like you said, 28 balls in play. he knew one thing, that they're not going to take him deep today. It's the ballpark is playing big, even though it's a dome. He knew that none of the pitches, none of these guys who were up there are going to be really crushing him over the fence. Nathan Lowe saw him well, and other people saw him well, but Johnny Cueto just knows the art of pitching, even though he hasn't probably seen these guys that much. He just knows the art of pitching. He's just such a artist. I love the guy so much.
When you bring up,
go ahead.
You bring up the play at third base, and the thing that I thought right away is you think back to Ethan Katz when Cueto first got here, and Katz, who obviously had experience with him in San Francisco, told us he's the best athlete on the team. And I think you look at Johnny Cueto, and he doesn't look like Tim Anderson. He doesn't look like Luis Robert. That's a hard, maybe thing to buy from the pitching coach. But he has made some really nice defensive plays this season. And certainly that one tonight covering third base was one of them. What does Tony La Russa always say about Johnny Cueto? He's smart. He's smart. He's smart. He repeats it over and over and over again. You throw smart in with athleticism, and it's knowing what to do, being a veteran, having the experience to make that play at third base. Obviously, earlier in that inning, he had made a bad throw over to first base, and that was the first of a few plays in that inning that went awry. I'm sure that's on your checklist to talk about here, Sean. But the defense was interesting tonight, but certainly that play by Cueto at third base was a highlight.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into the defense now. You see Andrew Vaughn and A.J. Pollock almost colliding on a sac fly. You mentioned the few that Cueto had. He had a nice play covering third base there. He had also a nice one where he, I think it was it wasn't a bunt. It was a tapper in front of the mound. He ends up throwing it to second and getting the lead runner. That was on a bunt.
That was right after. That was right after he made the bad throw to put the guy on first. Yeah,
and the bad throw. I mean, it was a very tough play to make. I mean, he was running over there, heading towards the third base line. He could have gave it to Moncada, but Moncada was a little bit deep playing Garcia. And, he rushed it a little bit, but I mean, to make that play, you had to rush it. And, with how good he was today, it's really tough to blame Cueto for that one. But Herb, you also see Andrew Vaughn out in right field, and he's showing off why he's one of the worst defenders in StatCast history, and he doesn't even play that much in right field.
But isn't that so weird? Like, isn't that weird? Like,
No.
He was fine in left field last year. Like, he wasn't great, but he was fine, right? And so, like, why do you just move him across the outfield and all of a sudden everything is haywire?
That I'm not sure. I think it's probably difficult to read right-handers and the opposite field slice that those balls have. So I would say that maybe that plays into factor there. And I mean, that's really my only thought. I think he's gotten slower as well. I think that part of the reason why you see the dip in those outside metrics is, I think he's slower. He's getting to less balls. I think he had fresher legs last year. And I think just two, like, he's shown that he's a professional outfielder in the fact that he's not going to make stupid plays like Garcia, like dropping balls like that. And then also he had the one where, Garcia ends up kicking the ball away. Like, Vaughn hasn't had any of those like errors like that, but he just doesn't get there quick enough. And I think that he is just trying to do anything that is hit in his area, and he doesn't want to let the team down. And I think that's what you see in that Pollock sac fly is he doesn't want to let the team down. He sees that as his area when he just needs to back off and give the veteran who has 10 plus years of service time that ball.
Absolutely right. And I think that but I'll say this. I do disagree that that's like the reason they lost the game. I mean, Steve Stone said at the end of the broadcast, I believe, that, they lose this one on a miscommunication. It was a bad play, and it was a miscommunication. And anytime you have an outfielders almost colliding, it would seem to me that is a very avoidable thing. But I watching the replay of that play, I don't think Pollock gets him at home, right? I mean, no. he was scoring regardless. So, I mean, like, that's not the reason they lost the game, but it was ugly, and it was an emblematic play of kind of some of the defensive problems that the White Sox have dealt with all year.
Well, and that's why I think Jason's super chat's on the screen. Shout out to Jason for the $4.99 super chat, saying, glad we didn't address right field at the deadline. You brought that up at the in the pregame show, just that A.J. Pollock, we might start seeing him now that the full force is out there, the six main guys, the six core pieces. We might finally see A.J. Pollock out in right field. But what we see is A.J. Pollock, 35 years old, out in center field, playing a position that he really hasn't been out since about 2016. And, those are the two guys that are fielding that game important final fly ball. And, Pollock, I think Jason mentioned, he's got the outfielder's arm, but he's still got a left fielder's arm. Like, he's been playing left field for a reason. So that's where I think it's tough to move on from the trade deadline, because you even see Gavin Sheets step up. He's supposed to be the left-hander that's supposed to solve Hernandez out of the bullpen. And, he goes down and he doesn't do anything for the Sox off the bench. So it is tough. They don't have a great defender out in right field. Pollock's been hitting the ball better recently, but it seems like the more Vaughn plays out in the outfield, the worse his bat's getting. So I am concerned about that.
And Jackie from Southside Sox, managing editor over there, says offense was comatose. Vaughn was terrible and right, but the real enemy here is roster construction. As you were talking about right there, yeah, there's no reason why Andrew Vaughn should be in right field on a team that is, well, any team, but a team that's supposed to be competing for a championship. That's malpractice, that putting him and Gavin Sheets out there. I know some of this is out of necessity, but now we're ready to go. I don't want to see him ever out there again. But the main problem is, I think him going into another outfielder, like, he's done it. We've seen the injury that Danny Mendick suffered. He's out for the year. Like, it's happened. Josh Harrison with Andrew Vaughn multiple times this year. Like, he got injured one game, Josh Harrison. So, like, it's a thing with this team. It's not necessarily just Andrew, but he's at fault tonight. It's organizational. Debo, I don't know what you're teaching. I don't know what the White Sox outfield staff is teaching these guys about communication, because we see it time and time again. They might be yelling it. They might be saying it, but the message is not getting through. So it might be a time for somebody else to say, hey, this is what we do in the outfield, and maybe another messenger is needed out there. I'm not looking to fire Debo necessarily. He can go somewhere else. He can go organizationally somewhere else. But obviously something's going on with the offense, or with the outfield defense.
Well, and maybe that's why they keep mentioning the word leader. I mean, we see AJ Pollock hustling on that infield single and running his ass off. And maybe they need a leader out there in the outfield. Luis Robert hasn't played center field there in a bit. He obviously has been dealing with stuff pre-All-Star break, and we're going to see him tomorrow for the first time in center field since Minnesota. So that's going to be good to see. And maybe you get your center field captain out there, because the whole thing is, Aloy, if it's hit anywhere near you and Luis Robert, Luis has that ball. And maybe they just have that understanding with that one guy in the middle, and he is your everyday center fielder, Luis Robert.
Well, and I'll say this on the roster construction point too. There's maybe a difference between versatility being a great attribute and being the starting right fielder. I mean,
Right.
If we saw Andrew Vaughn out in right field a handful of times to give somebody a rest, or, because an injury happens and you got to plug him in there, then all of a sudden that becomes like, oh, good for you, Andrew Vaughn. You can do that. That's great. Great. That's great for the team that you can move him there. To have him be the everyday right fielder, I think in the preseason we talked about it and said, that a few of us said like that wouldn't be the worst thing because of what we saw from him in left field last year. Mm-hmm. But obviously the results this year have been much different. And so, like I was saying in the pregame show, like you brought up, AJ Pollock was signed to be, or traded for, to be the right fielder, and he's barely played there because of the injury to Eloy Jimenez. Some of it is, the cookie is crumbled in a crappy way, and some of it is you're finding out maybe that your versatile guy, Andrew Vaughn, versatility only goes so far.
Right. And again, it's kind of forced versatility. I want to say he's like more flexible than versatile, because if he was versatile, I think it'd be working out better. I just do go back to last year. And I mean, like, what was there a complaint with the way he played left field last year? Obviously there was room for improvement, just, in a vacuum. This guy could be, you could get player X who is better than him. But given the situation, it seemed like a pretty fantastic job by him, what he was able to do out there. And I don't remember a lot of plays where you went, ooh, you know what I mean? Like there were a lot, he just, like you said, did what he was supposed to do, and it worked. The fact that on the other side of the field, it is very much not the case is perplexing, I think. Yeah, I mean, so this year in right field, he's got an outs above average of -1 on 37 attempts. In left field, he's got a -7 outs above average on 44 attempts. And I think part of it was the slice I was talking about in right field versus left-handed batters. He's got a -1 outs above average. In left field versus left-handed batters, he's got a -5 outs above average. But I mean, you also look at the estimated success rate. So they're saying that, how many balls is he's estimated to catch. His actual success rate is 75%. So I think he's probably just slower from last year. And that slowness, again, it's a game of inches here in baseball. I think that slowness is probably slowing his ability down to be where he was last year. He's just a first baseman. I think we've seen it or enough of him in the outfield to show that, he's just a first baseman. I mean, even him running around the bases reminds so many people of Paul Konerko, I think, for a reason, just because he's pretty lead-footed. So I think that his speed is really hurting him.
Paul Konerko, let's not go quite that far.
Hey, Paul Konerko turned that one into an inside the Parker. Andrew Vaughn stayed at third base, my friend. And no one ever would bet on Paul Konerko to hit an inside the park grand slam. But if you were, the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free T-shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free T-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com and we'll help you out. And PointsBet's your home for live and play betting, and it just got even better. If you see an edge in the game you're watching, if your favorite team is primed for a comeback, don't just watch the game. Bet along with it live. There's more live betting, more live markets, and faster live cash outs with the PointsBet app. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your live betting game. Download the PointsBet app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. And once the game starts, don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. And when you're in that hot Arlington heat, even though it's in a dome now, when you're sweating and putting all that work into your daily routine, I have to tell you about Owen. It is going to help you after your post-workouts, your pre-workouts. It stands for only what you need. It is only what you need because it's 100% plant-based protein shake that gives you nutrition that works as hard as you do. All of their products are free of artificial ingredients, allergen-friendly. There's no gluten or dairy, and they're easily digestible. Herb went out yesterday, or I guess it was Tuesday, right?
No, it was yesterday, I believe. Oh, Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday.
Tuesday. You went out Tuesday, went across the street from the office, went out and got yourself a chocolate Owen. Delicious. And you refueled with the great 100% plant-based protein shake. Again, it is a snack, Herb, and it refills you for the entire CHGO White Sox podcast. You first heard about it from Chicago Bears quarterback Justin Fields, who follows a plant-based diet. That's why he drinks Owen, and Owen and CHGO have partnered up to give you an awesome offer. You can get 20% off your first purchase at liveowen.com. That's LIVEOWYN.com. And with code CHGO20, you can get 20% off your first purchase, again, at liveowen.com. Join me and Justin Fields and try Owen, only what you need. All right, Vinny, let's get into your little table talk here.
Man, you should have pushed play on this thing right when I logged on because that was real hot then.
Oh, I can't get you hot thinking about Ikea Furniture. It'll probably take me like 2 seconds. My mom had a similar issue. She's building a white cabinet, and none of the holes lined up. I mean, all the directions were there. Everything was there, and it's not even like the alternate method that you were saying. Like, the straight instructions were just wrong. The straight holes were lined up wrong. So I know the frustration of either poorly built Ikea furniture or just trying to turn IKEA furniture into something it isn't. So I felt your pain when you started ranting about it.
Yeah. So yes, the activity for this evening during the White Sox game, I had it on, and I decided to keep busy. You know, I have a large IKEA desk that I needed to put together. Got the part of it done all the way, and then I wanted it's a bookshelf with a desk attached to it. So I built the bookshelf, no problem, done. The desk part you need to attach, and the way they tell you to do it is to have the bookshelf standing up and the desk coming off the middle of it. I wanted to do the alternate method, which is have the bookshelf lie on its side with the desk. You make like an L desk kind of thing. You got twice as much desk space here, Sean.
What are they doing suggesting it the other way?
Well, and they advertise that you can do it that way. So I'm like, oh, so it'll be fine. It'll work fine. But then I get the instructions. I open up the box. Turns out if you want the desk like the way I want it, you got to drill holes in the bookshelf. Come on, there already should be holes drilled in the bookshelf. So I have a drill. I go to get the drill. The battery's not charged. And so I charge the battery for like literally like 2/3 of the game. Like it's been like an hour and a half at least. And I pop the battery in, put the drill down. I get 1 second. I get like 2 spins out of the drill. I'm at my wit's end with this thing. It's sitting in there, not finished. Brutal.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I wanted to have it. I wanted to have it for the wife to come home tonight, have the nice desk done. Now it's going to be in pieces. I'm going to look like a failure of a husband. So
it's just like The Simpsons, where everyone shares those rebuild plans, and it's like, this is what we expected it to be, and here is just a pile of garbage. Here's a pile of wood. Welcome home, honey.
Yep. English instructions ruined. Must use French instructions. Lay grill. What the hell is that? It's been a frustrating evening, and that's before we talk about your feelings on the White Sox. My feelings on the Swedish furniture industry are not happy at the moment.
I think Baloney is Swedish, and he says Ikea Furniture construction is less frustrating than this team. Herb, you an Ikea guy? What would you say? Ikea Furniture or White Sox baseball? Which one's more frustrating?
White Sox baseball, hands down. Ikea Furniture for me. I'm not as venturous as Vinny is, and if that thing would have said, "Hey, you need a drill," like, nope, this thing ain't getting built then, because I don't have one, never have. Because the most of the Ikea furniture I got is just those little wood chunks in there, or you just screw in with the L, whatever
the Allen wrench,
Allen wrench. See, you guys know things. Allen wrench.
And we're living here in Allen wrench. Yeah,
right. Billy Joel is rolling in his grave.
Still alive, Billy
Joel. You sure? Because you might have just killed him with that version. I'm kidding, Vinny. You're great. The White Sox, they're frustrating every single day. Like, somebody was asking me, it's like, how do you guys do this every day? It's like, some days are great, but some days are really, really difficult, because the pitcher out there making his major league debut, Reagan, was fine. He was fine. If we put the pitch mix up there, the White Sox were getting to him, fouling the ball off enough, putting the ball in play enough, where he wasn't really striking him out, except for that cutter, which Yasmani Grandal could not see. Cutter, middle. Just frustrating that they didn't take advantage of a guy that was not overwhelmingly great. And the people who came in after him, now those people were overwhelmingly great, like Matt Moore and that pitcher in the ninth inning, was Hernandez? Ooh, friends. Those guys, I understand why you struggle, but not against that starter.
Not even bringing up a Chicago-born Brian Burke. Brian Burke going 2 innings, and he looked like all arms and legs and just nasty stuff from him.
They said on the broadcast he's got the lowest ERA in baseball. Is that true? Why didn't they trade him at the trade deadline?
Seriously.
They kept him, Matt Moore. Like, they got all these things. Like, they're about to compete now. Like a full great-ass bullpen for no reason.
And they're all lefties, which I don't understand. Like, especially this White Sox team. And hey, Alex Rude said in the pregame show, 10-11, the White Sox are now 10-12 versus left-handed pitching. And this was basically, outside of Hernandez in the ninth, all left-handed pitching. And the White Sox could not do anything. Again, they didn't have a single ball over 100 miles per hour hit today. And it's tough because, like, I don't know if I'm, like, frustrated with this team after this performance, because what we wanted them to do is, have better at bats. And I think that they had better at bats today. I mean, the fact that they drew 6 walks is insane. I think that was the first time, they said that on the broadcast, the first time since like June 20th or something, where they had 6 walks. So that is crazy. I mean, they had still 5 hits that should be enough to get runners in. But again, it is the fact that there was only 1 extra base hit, and it was basically a bloop single that turned into a triple. So again, it's just frustrating where you have the White Sox going up against left-handed pitching, their strength, and they're not able to do anything with it. And it's exactly like the Kansas City game on Monday. Credit to Ragans, first major league start, getting into trouble like he did with 26 pitches in the first inning. He pitched around it, and he looked good. And it's all about limiting hard contact. I mean, you saw that with Johnny Cueto. Johnny Cueto wasn't giving up super hard contact today. Ragans didn't either. None of their bullpen arms did. And it really just starts to look like certain guys on the Sox aren't having great at-bats. You look at Luis Roberts' day. Luis Robert almost walked for 3 times in his career, the first time, 3 times in a game. He didn't have a bad at-bat all night. Jose Abreu looked all right tonight. I really can't point out anything bad he did. Jimenez was giving it his best up there, but like Tim Anderson looks rough. Yohan Moncada looks rough. Grandal looks rough. I'll give a credit to Pollock as well. He looks fine at the plate. But those three really sticking out as like the true guys that aren't performing for the White Sox. And I think if those guys stepped it up, this is probably a different game.
And I like what you said about Luis Robert. He had some of the best at-bats he's had all year. Not chasing pitchers' pitches. The guy was around the plate, and he was just sitting on those balls and spitting on them. It was good to see. He drew a lot of pitches out of the Reagans, and he made sure that he was only going to swing at his pitches. And that is a change of what Luis Robert was doing just a month ago. He's feeling a little bit better at the plate. When he struck out with that pitch that was way inside, I don't know if we still have it, Steven. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I think it's pitch number 9. It's a 3-2 pitch. If you're looking on YouTube, it's inside, probably about, can't see, like 6-7 inches off the plate.
You're being dramatic.
You kid?
That's not 6 inches off the plate.
In real life?
No, I mean, it was a bad call. And I think it's outside of the 2-inch buffer, but it's like 3 inches out.
6. It's not that. It was a borderline call. I'm not saying it was definitely 100% ball. They give them that like I said, that levity or that inch to get there.
I'd say 6 inches is where 1 is.
Where's the? Oh, okay. You think it's that's like a foot inside. That's way off. But the point is that I think Rob Drake got the feeling of the atmosphere, wanted the crowd to pop because he was doing the
Enrico Palazzo.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do like a real, but he did this regular punch out thing. Like he wanted the crowd to feel good about himself. I think that's just human nature sometimes. And Rob Drake's not a great guy, but he's even a worse umpire right there because what is he doing there? He's giving that pitch all game long, but it's way off of the plate. Like it's inexcusably off the plate where he shouldn't really call that a strike. But I think he was feeling the fire and feeling the atmosphere and wanted the crowd pop.
Was it even that loud? I didn't notice that the Arlington Stadium was that loud.
This stadium doesn't get that loud. It seems like lost.
It doesn't get that, in the air. It doesn't get that packed either. I do see two people bringing up, say Ferris and Wayne bringing up that the last at bat by Robert was weak. I think it was interesting just seeing Hernandez come in. He's been throwing 50% sinkers his entire season, and he to the first two batters, to Gavin Sheets and to Tim Anderson, I think he threw one sinker to them, and it really felt like you weren't going to be getting that fastball to him. The first, I think, two were out of the zone, and those were bad swings by Luis. But the fact that he showed any semblance of plate discipline in the first couple at bats, I'll give him a slide, especially the first game back. I don't really want to be too overcritical of Luis Robert here. But again, I think that if you want to show Steven the heat map for Cole Ragans today and just kind of show you where he worked as a right or as a lefty working in to right-handed hitters completely. And you see those red dots really in on those White Sox. And you could see Herb. I mean, that's really in the area of where Luis Robert ends up getting rung up, kind of where that bottom left hand blob is. And then he was really just spotting the fastball into righties and then that changeup low and away to righties as well. And it just was a nice mix. I don't know if it was Cole Hamels if it was a Cole Hamels special, but a guy in his first start looks real good and looks like he's got decent control. So watch out. Texas might have found a good one here.
That Rorschach test that you put up every once in a while is entertaining.
I think we got a couple more, Vinny. So after the ad break,
I saw a frog in that last one, by the way.
I saw a daffodil.
All right, we'll test you more with the Rorschach test because we got some other ones, especially from Brock Burke. I know you guys are dying to see the Brock Burke Rorschach test here. Now let's go to take a quick ad break, and then we'll wrap up this with another good old Rorschach test. The best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. Not only are you going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. And in case you missed it, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. You'll be signing up at the fastest sportsbook easier than ever, so you could start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Something I bet on tonight, the Astros to win, the Blue Jays to win, and the White Sox to win. All right, so I didn't end up winning that bet thanks to the White Sox.
You know what Meatloaf says, Sean?
2 out of 3 ain't bad. 2 out of 3 loses you a bet. And hey, 2 out of 3 doesn't move you up in the division, which I think is probably the most frustrating thing to most people and most White Sox fans, is the fact that the Blue Jays and Astros took care of business. The White Sox couldn't take care of business against the 500 or sub 500 team. Part of the reason was Brock Burke. Let's show the other Rorschach chest here, Steven. Let's see Brock Burke. You could just see where he was locating. And this goes into your whole gripe with the Luis Robert one. You could kind of see it sticking out there on the inside. Vinny, what do you see? Or maybe you should be looking at this and have an answer once we take it off the screen. But Brock Burke was elite today, really just able to locate wherever he wanted, really avoiding that middle top of the zone. It was really a fantastic effort from Brock Burke, and a really fantastic arm coming out of that Texas bullpen. Someone you're going to have to watch out for the next 3 games in this series, because I don't think the White Sox can hit this guy if he's going to be locating like this.
Skydivers. I see skydivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see a poodle bucking off a crash test dummy looking for a ball.
There you go.
Am I crazy?
No,
does that mean I'm crazy. Son of a bitch.
You guys have great imaginations. I have no idea what to even see. And in chat, chime in if you see anything in the Brock Burke heat map here. I like poodle and ball. I think that's a good suggestion from Herb Lawrence here.
I mean, she's just painting over there, like high inside fastballs to right-handers, and then painting on the outside. Like, he's got the lowest ERA in the league for a reason. Like, I saw a couple pitches, and so did I think Yoan Moncada got off of Matt more than Brock Burke, but they had some good at bats versus this guy, and he was filthy. Their whole bullpen is just nasty. So I gotta credit them for, and Luis Robert last at bat excluding, that guy's filthy. You gotta give him a break. God damn, the dude was doing 99 mile per hour sinkers in on your hands. Come on now. But the White Sox had better at bats versus their bullpen than they had versus their starter. I
would disagree. I think, Brock Burke ate him up. 4 strikeouts in 2 innings. Matt Moore was, I guess, the only guy that I really felt like the White Sox could even see. And then Hernandez dominated them, setting them down in 1-2-3. They at least clogged the bases. The first inning, they got the bases loaded. They just weren't able to come through. And there was a couple, too, where, he ends up getting weak contact that turns into ground ball double plays. He got 2 ground ball double plays to get out of the inning. That was Raggins. But, I really didn't think the White Sox couldn't get a run past him. I thought it was coming. It felt like it was coming at any moment, especially with the way that they got his pitch count up in the first inning. So I'm pretty disappointed that they couldn't hit Raggins, or at least push any runs across against Raggins. That was probably the most disappointing part of today.
I agree. I wasn't saying that they had a better success. I think they had better at bats. Their bats approaching these guys was better than they had with Cole Raggins, because he was more in the zone and balls that are more available to hit, and the White Sox did not punish him. Going back to that first inning, Yoan Moncada swing on the first pitch at bat. Now, Yoan eventually came through, but I think also, you said, it was just a lazy fly ball to right, where a guy who had a terrible day, Adolis Garcia, knocks the ball away and runs that into an RBI triple. And what's the official scorer doing there, man? That's at most an RBI double with an error right there for Adolis Garcia. Give him 2 for the day. He was really rough, but the White Sox didn't take advantage of Yoan at third in scoring him. So I think overall they had better at bats later than they had earlier.
Yeah, they got to get better anyways. They got to hit the ball harder if they want to win in any of the games coming up this weekend against Texas. I think the biggest part, again, and we mentioned it a little bit, but Houston dominates Cleveland. Justin Verlander shutting out the Guardians, which was great for the White Sox. The Blue Jays end up pulling away and powering themselves past the Minnesota Twins. But here are the White Sox losing. They fall 53 and 52. They're 2 games back of the Twins, who are in first place at 55 and 50, and the Guardians in second place at 54 and 51. There was a graphic that popped up on the broadcast showing the White Sox, the Guardians, and Twins' next couple of opponents in their winning percentage, and the Twins, Guardians facing teams that are well above 500. I think it was a 54 winning percentage and then a 51 winning percentage for those two teams respectively. And the White Sox around a 41 winning percentage for the opponents coming up. You have Texas that you just lost the first one to. You have Kansas City coming up. You have Detroit coming up. I mean, the division feels like it's in, for the taking. I mean, if the White Sox are able to take care of business, we could be talking about a first place White Sox team. You get great performances from the Astros and Blue Jays, and you're not able to take advantage of it. And I think, again, if you can't let these moments slip away, or we're going to be dealing with those last 9 games, or 6 of them are against Minnesota, Vinny. The more and more games like this just make me nervous.
Here's the thing, though. The point is that you say you feel like it's there for the taking. It's not there for the taking, because all 3 of these teams are playing the same brand of disappointing baseball. They have been all year. That's why they're all bunched up right now as we are here in August. What you can hang your hat on, and it's not going to make anybody very happy, but is that they're all the same. So if you don't want to call it there for the taking, because that makes it kind of there, that kind of describes the White Sox as being able to sprint right by these teams if they get hot. I think all you got to do now is that hope that it does come back down to those last 9 games where 6 of them are against Minnesota, because then you just play. All you got to do is play like 2 or 3 games better than you were going to, by doing this whole 500 dance that the White Sox have been doing all year, and you win the division at the end of the year, because the Twins aren't playing better, the Guardians aren't playing better, so they're all going to be all bunched up until you get to the end, barring some sort of huge, injury that changes everything. But certainly this is an opportunity for the White Sox. I think right now, until they decide to play a lot differently, and until they decide to go on a winning streak, and until they show us that the first 4 months were not going to be what the last 2 months are, you should expect them to not take dramatic advantage of that opportunity, but to not really blow it either, right? So that is not, of course, what anybody wants to hear, but that's the story we've been told, or we've been watching for the first 4 months. I don't understand why it would change until we have reason to believe it would.
Then I just wish it would change. I just want it to change. Maybe let me just make it more clear. I just need it to change. I mean, you have the opportunity to at least be 1 game back, even though you're not playing great baseball. You have the opportunity to be 1 game back. You have the opportunity to be tied in the win column with the Guardians today. They're probably not scoreboard watching. I'm scoreboard watching. Like, I don't know. Like, take advantage, Herb,
I mean, let's paraphrase the great epic Faith No More, the band Faith No More. They want it all, but they can't have it. It's in their face, but they can't grab it. Did I just kill somebody, Vinny?
No,
I don't even know.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. I don't know if I would call them great and epic, but it was a good dramatic reading, Herb.
Well, yeah, weren't you quoting Epic, the song?
Yeah, Faith No More is the group. Yes.
Oh, there you
right.
go.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were using it as a lowercase, as an adjective.
Oh no.
What is this?
Now you just killed somebody. But it's like I said yesterday, or 2 days ago, it's baseball hell. We're here where we see we can go to the promised land of first place for AL Central, go to the playoffs. Even in the wild card, we're really kind of close, but there's a couple teams in front of us there. But the White Sox don't want it. I mean, it's not don't want it, but they can't just go and grab it and take over. Like you said, we have what?
You got it wrong. It's not baseball hell. It's baseball purgatory.
Oh, even worse. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's even worse. Like, we're just right there. We have these bum teams, and these other teams we're going against, the Twins and the Guardians, have pretty much champions there. Blue Jays are going to the playoffs, and the Astros, of course, going to the playoffs. They took care of business for us, and we lose to the Texas Rangers. I don't know what this bugaboo is with the first couple games of a series, too. It's just frustrating that I don't know if they don't get right or get ready. Something has to, like, all this whole season is just so frustratingly paradoxical. I don't know what's going on. They can't hit where they're supposed to hit. They don't play well on first games. They don't hit lefties like they used to. All the things that we thought we knew are backwards, and they don't work anymore. It's so frustrating to watch this thing. And so I want to go and fix an IKEA desk right goddamn now because I'll calm down from that.
Bring it. Hey, if you got a fully charged drill, bring it over. We'll be done in 5 seconds.
I think they've lost 7 of the last 9 opening games in a series, dating back all the way to the prior to the sweep of the San Francisco Giants. So it hasn't been pretty, to say the least. And 0 for 6 today with runners in scoring position. That's basically where the game was decided. Rangers go 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. White Sox go 0 for 6 and leave 9 guys on base. So just another ugly game. We're just not able to, again, have that big hit, that big moment, that big run scoring, adventure for the Sox, and we'll see if that happens at all this weekend. Let's look at the weekend matchup and preview this for the people that won't be getting a pregame show. We will be with you on Sunday for the matchup between Giolito and Spencer Howard. That will be starting at 1 o'clock, a 1 o'clock pregame, and then we'll have a postgame after that one on Sunday, August 7th. But tomorrow, we got Dylan Cease versus Glenn Otto. Vinny, what has been the key to Dylan Cease turning it on as you see a 2.01 ERA right now?
Yeah, I mean, he keeps getting asked that, and the first thing he jumps to is that slider, and I think that should come as no surprise with that being one of the best pitches in baseball this year. It's such an effective weapon. I think if you're the White Sox, what you got to do, or if you're Dylan Cease, what you got to do is, be ready for the day when the hitters adjust, right? I mean, that can be the best pitch in baseball right now, but this is a game where folks tend to figure stuff out. The good news for Dylan is that he has thrown a lot of pitches. He's got, he's got way more than just that slider, as Tony La Russa reminds us every time we ask him about the slider. And that he's shown an ability to evolve, an ability to take coaching from Ethan Katz. So I'm pretty positive that they have a really good game plan if and when that slider is not, just making everybody look foolish. So that's what he credits. But I also think that he has the tools to go ahead and continue to evolve, continue to play that game of adjustments that this sport really is. He's been fantastic, and you wouldn't expect anything else when he takes the mound, really, every time.
Absolutely. And you see just the way that slider has affected teams that have not seen it. And that makes me very excited because Dylan last year was finding himself in the latter half of the season. And on September 7th, he went 5 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts with 15 swinging strikes. You have a feeling with that new slider that you're probably going to see double-digit strikeouts again, and we'll see if maybe it's a 12-game strikeout for him, maybe it's a 13-game strikeout, and we saw how efficient Johnny Cueto was today. I think he had like 73 pitches going into the 8th inning. If he's able to be efficient tomorrow, maybe we even see a complete game shutout from Dylan Cease. I mean, he's been that good. You're just surprised he hasn't had like that truly defining game just yet that Lucas Giolito had a couple of years. He had a 9-game complete game shutout last year of the Astros. 2020, obviously, he had the no-hitter. 2019, he went into Minnesota, had a complete game shutout. I do feel like Dylan Cease needs one of those games. And shout out to Matthew Cortese coming in with the super chat saying you guys are the best. We appreciate you, Matthew, always being in here, hanging out with us. And that goes the same for Wayne and Clark and all you guys hanging out with us. But
Matthew, one of these days, Matthew, that no-hitter is going to happen.
One day, and it'll be 5-0 too, in honor of you, just like that Josh Fields game where Mark Burley throws the perfect game. But I do want to bring this up. This is from a former co-host on the show, a former guest of the show, Pine Tar Keyboard, Zach Hayes over at Southside Sox. And he wrote up about Dylan Cease's slider. Dylan Cease, White Sox new slider, is smashing records. And he talks about the run value of Dylan Cease's slider. Right now it's at minus negative 29.6. And in the StatCast era, dating back all the way to 2008, that is the 3rd lowest run value already, and it's only August 4th. And I think he's got only about like 3 or so runs to jump Armando Galarraga of 2008 and Yu Darvish of 2013. So Dylan is really finding something that is new. I mean, this slider is elite, and he's getting great break on it. And in that article too, Zach talks about how the break has changed this year from last year.
And Dylan Cease should have a big-time strikeout game. I mean, the Texas Rangers are one of the worst teams as far as not striking out in the league. I think they're 23rd in strikeouts per game, like sixth lowest in the league, tied with the Reds right now. They should strike out a lot because that slider, like you said, plays. And I liked a couple times when he was throwing the knuckle curve. Like he would throw it at the top of the zone just to, change the eye level, not just dirtying those knuckle curves. Last time he went out there, and then of course still has 98 miles per hour on a 4-seam fastball, which is weird to say is a secondary pitch because that slider plays so much. And to hear those numbers you just cited off is just amazing. Third best since 2008 ever for a season. It's amazing. That's just amazing. Like we didn't think that it was going to come this soon. I didn't think it was going to come this soon, that where Dylan Cease is a top level elite pitcher, but he's there right now. He's currently there as the 2-time reigning pitcher of the month for the AL. It's amazing. And kudos to him for doing the work, and kudos to Ethan Katz for getting these guys where they are today.
And funny enough, Vinny brought up earlier run support for Johnny Cueto. He's averaging 4.68 runs per game in games started. Dylan Cease averaging 4.95. He's only had one start where the White Sox offense has given him less than 3 runs. 7 starts with 7 starts with 3 runs or more, 4 starts with 2, 5 starts with 4, or 4 starts with 5, 1 start with 6, 4 starts with 7, 1 start with 9, and another with 11 total runs. Only one game, and that was the loss to the Tigers and Bo Brisky, where they only gave him 1 run of support. And Johnny Cueto really hasn't had that same success. Another game where he only gets 2 runs of support there. So, difficult there. And obviously, if you're going to be that great of a pitcher, you still need the offense to show up.
Absolutely. I mean, come on. It's been the story of the year. The starting pitching has been mostly fine. Obviously, Lance Lynn for the better percentage of his season so far has not been where he wanted to be. Lucas Giolito, better percentage of his season has not been where he wants to be. But Cease has been great. Cueto's been great. Kopech's been good. And overall, they've been pretty good. The bats, man. The bats. They can't score the runs. They can hit. We know they can hit. But they can't score, and they can't hit home runs. And until proven otherwise, that's going to be a very difficult thing to win a division while not being able to do either of those 2 things.
Yeah, clearly leading the MLB in batting average shows that they can put the bat onto the ball. It's just about hitting it a little bit harder, lads. And just to wrap this whole Johnny Cueto show up, this one's from Chris Kamka. Cueto does it again. Most 6 innings pitched in a start by White Sox this season. 13 starts with 6+ innings for Johnny Cueto out of his 14 starts. Dylan Cease has 9. Lucas Giolito has 8. So we'll see if Dylan can make that 10 tomorrow. And then on Saturday, it is Michael Kopech on the bump versus old friend Dane Dunning. So we'll see how those 2 go to battle against each other. And again, we'll be joining you on Sunday for a pregame at 1 p.m. and a postgame to follow. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's a CHGO White Sox beat writer. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at EctorWall23. It's like Hollywood Squares. And he's the CHGO White Sox community leader.
I'm Shadow Stevens.
I'll be Whoopi. I'll be brave. I'll be Whoopi.
I don't know who you're talking about, Herb. I know Paul Lind. Paul Lind.
Of course,
from the old one.
Paul Lind.
There you go. Hollywood Square should have us on. Anyways, thank you, Stephen Nicholas, as well, our producer. And thank you to Fleetwood Mac for their 1979 album, Tusk. Appreciate Clark, Matthew, Red Tornado, Baloney for all hanging out with us in the live chat. And again, we will talk to you on Sunday for the pregame show at 1 p.m. Go White Sox.